Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcasts with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Future Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Juliette Lamar, and joining us today is Alexey Raevsky. He is the co-founder at Bloomio. Welcome, Alexey.
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us here today, and we're very excited to hear about Bloomio. So why don't you give our listeners some insight into what Bloomio is?
Bloomio is a crowdfunding platform based on blockchain. It it connects investors and startups, and it allows investors to start their investment from $50, and all transactions are recorded on blockchain. Also, we provide secondary market. Actually, we plan to provide. Currently, we don't have regulatory approvals, but our plan is to provide second market for startup shares, and everything is also will be recorded in blockchain.
Fantastic. And what are some of the things that really make Bloomio stand out amongst other companies who are doing a similar thing?
Actually, there are several things that differentiate us among other crowdfunding platforms. First of all existing crowdfunding platforms and their relationship with the startup and investor once crowdfunding campaign is finished. We have a structure that will hold investors' shares, and we will be with them until the liquidity event. Then we will provide a secondary market, which will be implemented on the blockchain, so that all transactions are can be publicly confirmed.
That's so important to have that type of transparency when you're working in a space like raising funds for a startup company.
Yes, exactly. Our main goal was the transparency, and with the blockchain technologies, we saw that we can achieve this level of transparency. Absolutely.
So, if a company is in the startup phase, how do they go about getting started with Bloomio to raise funds?
We actually currently Bloomio is funded by founders. We decided there were 4 founders, and we knew each other for quite some time. And we decided first we were looking to organize a venture fund, and our idea was evolving, and we decided that crowdfunding platform is more interesting than simple venture fund, and we agreed to finance Bloomio at the seed stage.
Excellent. And if there's companies who are coming to you for funding, how does that process work for them?
If the company, if the startup comes to us for funding, first of all, they need to register in our platform and provide basic information about themselves. Then they need to fill up. After that, they can be viewed by other participants, by potential investors. People can ask questions to them, and to start crowdfunding campaign, they need to fill extended profile then we conduct kind of due diligence. We plan to involve third-party experts in each industry, and those experts, the startup should be evaluated by at least 2 experts, and they provide their grades for 5 different startup aspects, and each aspect is graded from 1 to 5. And if a startup gets more than 3 some average grade on each aspect, they can start crowdfunding campaign. We negotiate the time for that. Usually it's from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, and during this period, people can commit their money to this particular startup. When this period expires, if necessary amount of money is acquired, so the crowdfunding campaign is successful. Otherwise, it's not successful. In first case, we provide this amount of money to startup and get their shares. And in second case, we just return money to investors.
I see. And as far as the size of the startup and where it is in its life, when they come to you, what do you like to see from a startup? What are some of the things that you believe are going to contribute to the success of the startup when you first see it?
Actually, we would like to see that it's a real startup with a real team, and they have a good idea and the ability to deliver the product. But what is important is that we are neutral to startups. It's the crowd who decides whether to invest into this particular startup or not. We just provide a platform for this for listing of this startup, and experts who evaluate the startup and give their feedback. So it's a crowd who decides whether to invest into startup or not.
It's very exciting because when you are creating something such as a company, having that extra outside opinion most likely contributes to a lot more creativity because it's showing you challenges and things that perhaps you had not thought of within your own team base.
Yeah, exactly. We see that crowd economy is coming, and it has a great perspective with new digital technologies, with blockchain especially. Currently, we cannot rely on the opinion of a particular person, a particular analyst, or someone else. We can decide ourselves to invest, for example, to one startup or another. Absolutely.
Is there a minimum that each startup should be asking for, and what is your pricing scheme?
We believe that a startup can request up to $500,000 US, and we charge for crowdfunding process itself, and we charge investors for profits they made because of the liquidity event or on the secondary market.
I see. So tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you find your way into Bloomio and your background?
My background is totally engineering. I'm a computer scientist. I have a PhD degree in this area, and I'm a founder of another company, information security, cybersecurity vendor, Zecurion. And I 2 years ago I started executive MBA course in Swiss Business School, and there I get deeper in fintech area. I have around 3 startups that I studied during my MBA course, and actually most of Bloomio co-founders are also actually they are my classmates.
Oh, wonderful! What a great way! What a great way to go about business.
Yeah, it might be a good success story for this business school.
Absolutely. So, getting back to Bloomio on the investor side, walk us through what it's like to be an investor when you're coming to Bloomio. What is the platform like, and how do you view each of these startups that you might be interested in funding?
Actually, it's pretty simple. You just register on the platform, and after that, you can see the startups that are listed on the platform. You can see the simple list. You can sort it by tax, by industries, by other attributes. And then if you decide to invest, you need to send money to platform. To do that, you need to pass KYC procedure. It's required for all financial organizations currently. And then you just need to wait for a company to start crowdfunding campaign, and you just commit your money, and that's it.
Wow, very simple.
Yeah, we are trying to do all procedures for both investors and startups as simple as possible, because we believe that it's a crucial point for the platform to be convenient and to be simple.
What are some of the biggest things you've learned by working with these startup companies in this space?
I've learned that fintech industry is very interesting. It's quite multifaceted, and I saw a lot of room in this industry.
And what do you think really are one of the top things that makes a startup excel or stand out in this day and age, where there's so many startups happening?
Actually, on my opinion, it's a kind of magic, because there might be similar startups with similar products, and one is having success and another one does not. So it's I don't have a recipe for a successful startup.
Do you have any stories of startups who have been on your platform that have gotten funding that you'd like to share?
Actually, not yet, unfortunately, because we haven't started yet. We are waiting for an approval from financial authority. So
still work in progress.
Yeah. We have the platform that is almost ready, and we are waiting for approval from financial regulation authority. So I suggest maybe to reconnect in some time, and I hope I could answer this question.
Absolutely, I didn't, and you're going to be able to, because I think this is such a wonderful platform for these people with these ideas coming to you, looking for guidance and looking for funding to get their dream off the ground. What kind of currencies do you accept for these startups?
We will accept. Actually, we're Swiss startups, so we plan to accept Swiss francs on the first. But of course, we will accept major currencies such as US dollars and euro.
Any cryptocurrencies?
No, not cryptocurrency yet, because there is still a problem to exchange cryptocurrency into fiat money. So and startup, I don't think that any startup will be happy to exchange their shares for some bitcoins or Ethereum.
And tell our audience one more time, what is the best way for investors or startups to get started with Bloomio and to watch the progress as it slowly starts to unfold?
Actually, we are currently accepting registration from both startups and investors, and we have a program for investors they can earn status points for some actions, and we are working to be prepared to our first crowdfunding campaign.
Wonderful. And what is the best place for people to find more information about that and to get started and sign up?
Actually, it's our website, bloomio.com. You can find all the information there and register as a startup and as an investor and start seeing startups, for example, or start working on profiles. It's ready now.
Fantastic. And that is www.bloomio.com.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Alexey, thank you so much for coming on the program today and for sharing your knowledge and this really fantastic community that you're building between investors and startups.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Alexey Raevsky. He is the co-founder at Bloomio. You can find them at bloomio.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been Juliet Lamar with Future Tech Podcast.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.